So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Before we give you an insight to George and our further development of George, let me come up with a few sentences. What do we understand in terms of prosperity advice and financial health of our clients? I think the most important thing for you to understand how we approach the whole story is that we are a purpose-driven company. The purpose of this group, as Andreas mentioned it at the beginning, in the morning, is to support our clients in building up wealth and creating wealth. Therefore, we try to achieve trying to put our clients to achieve a financial healthy situation. I don't know if you remember the last slide of Andreas, Erste Group, financial health. What do we mean in terms of financial health? It means putting our clients in a situation where they are able to fulfill all the ongoing financial obligations, where they are able to feel secure about their financial future, and where they are, best case, able to take decisions which put them in a situation to enjoy their life. Because we have the strong belief, and we are completely convinced, that financial health is the second most important thing after physical health. And therefore, and given the fact that we have the strong belief that the perception of retail banking changed over the last 15 years, especially driven by the financial crisis, it's completely clear to us that we have to change the perception of our clients. That means we have to transform the way how we are approaching our clients. Being a purpose-driven bank means, and that's also important, that we are not a product-driven bank. To understand the financial life of our clients and to put them in a situation that they're able to understand it by themselves. Remember, believe in yourself, so it all fits together. Therefore, the brand perception is so important for us. Means we are not going for being the best in class in consumer lending, the best in class in credit cards, whatever. It's much more about putting the right product portfolio in place for each individual client. And our added value is not product driven, it lies in between the product lines, because that's where it is about advice. Of course, the concepts of asset management and bank assurance are heavily related to prosperity advice. Especially in this interest rate environment, you can't avoid asset management products when you want to build up wealth. And there was the question before from some of you in this area, would we go now for selling structured products to mass market clients? No. I'm a little bit angry about this question, to be honest, because we have seen this movie, I think it was in 2003, something like that. And I've already been here around in this point in time, so I know what's the outcome of selling structured products to retail clients. I think in asset management, it's much more about making use of digital sales. We have to be completely aware that we have to adopt any kind of sales approach. We are coming up with to the MiFID environment we are in, which is quite complex, as we all know. But I see a lot of room for improvement in coming up with differentiated kind of product offerings, given different kind of target groups. Till now, asset management industry, at least in our region, has this more or less one-size-fits-all product setup. I think it's much broader now, and we have to come up with different kind of approaches. In terms of bank assurance, as Stefan already mentioned before, there is also a huge change in terms of product development. The typical traditional life insurance products will be changed. There will be much more unit-linked products, which is also good in terms of cooperation between Erste Asset Management and VIG. And we will have a much stronger focus on the non-life part, where we would like to implement much more digital sales, because given the distribution fees we can earn on non-life products, it makes much more sense to offer them in a digital way. Therefore, we decided even last year to implement the digital bank assurance hub in the Czech Republic, in Prague, to have a close cooperation with VIG to come up with these digital offers, especially in the non-life part, and to give a very clear answer to the question of how do we go on with VIG. Yes, we will go on with VIG. We prolonged the contract already last year for another 10 years. The question how to approach clients, and Andreas already mentioned it also at the beginning, that we are strong believers in this omnichannel approach. I think this area will be the hotspot of innovation over the next years. How to advise your clients, in which way, how our clients would like to be advised, and how it would be most efficient for ourselves. either we do it on remote, either we do it in the branch network, or we do it, as we started quite early, doing via an outstanding digital banking. And I think now it's time to invite Maurizio Bolletto and Boris Mate to the stage, who have been with me in charge for George from the beginning, which are now several times. Guys, the show is yours.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to introduce you to George. And maybe I give you a bit of history in the beginning. Some time ago, exactly 7 years ago, I think we took a very far-reaching and bold decision because we founded an innovation lab, which we called the Hub. And basically what you see today is the outcome. George is the outcome of that decision, which took place 7 years ago. But why was this decision so bold? And what is the difference in this decision from other decisions? I think there are maybe four arguments. The one is it was bold because we always wanted to do the transformation from the inside. And you see the effect now from this transformation. You saw the brand story about the most innovative brand in the market. You see the impact in the technology, and you see the impact in the way of working. The second thing is we always treated Erste Group as one challenge, like throughout all the countries, because that's where we see the biggest effect. The third thing was it was bold because we included and involved lots of externals into this endeavor, like people from different backgrounds, from different industries, people who had different skills, so a real interdisciplinary team. And the fourth thing was, and it was bold because basically what the board and what Andrea said at that time was, let them be free. Let them have their own agenda. Let them develop their own view of banking. So our ambition was, can we build a banking proposition, application we love? And basically that's the George story. And since not so much of you are here who are users of George, I guess, Mauri will lead you through the product. Today, we help more than 5 million people to take care of their financial life, which is a really great story. And our mission is, and we come to this later because that's basically also the purpose of George, to empower everyone to understand, manage, and improve their financial health. Mauri, please.
Thank you, Boris. So I got you through the product a bit. Unfortunately, you cannot use it every day, as many of you don't live here in Austria or in any of our countries. But I'm sure if you would do, you would probably use our application. Our concept from the very beginning was try to find a completely different approach to show your financial life. Boris presented before. Access, understand, manage and improve. The first step into financial literacy is understand your financial life. We're talking about retail customer here. We're talking about the fact that financials for them is not on top of their priority, right? They have other things to do. And it's very important that every time they access our channel, we find a way that their products are visible in the most frictionless and easy way to understand. And here you see a classical example of how our customer are having on our platform. They're having a current account, and you see every of those product cards, as we are displaying them in all our channels, are really not only about the balance. You know, we are coming from time, from 2010, 2011, where actually your online banking, and probably some of your online banking today, is basically a colorful Excel list. Lines, the IBAN or the account number, and the balance. That's what it is, right? And so here is a completely different approach. We are having an application which is trying to visualize your financial life. For every product, we have the product naming, which you can customize. We have a product picture you can customize. We have the current balance and some numerical information, and we try to visualize the performance of your product based on infographics. Every product has its own infographics. In the case of a current account, you see the relationship between your incoming and outgoing. Is a straightforward, basic liquidity set, right? Retail customers need that to see if they're earning more that they are spending or the other way around. Then a classical customer, in our case, they have a saving account for kids, they have a saving account for short-term next summer holiday or whatsoever, then they have a credit card or multiple credit cards, then they have a portfolio, the one who has a portfolio. Or you see on the right side, they may have an account at another bank, and we're able to import that account. Is that complexity the standards? No, actually, it's a bit more complicated than that. We are loading in our platform from all our country, we are loading financing products, we are loading leasing products, we are loading insurance products, and actually we're loading even more of that. And one information, we are not only loading these from our stock of products in the banks, we are taking PSD2 to connect to other banks' account, we are taking leasing from partner company, we are taking insurance from partner company. So at the moment we are really working hard to extend that connections, and our vision and our mission is actually to get as many products as possible. The discussion has been done before, I just need to be able to see your financial life to give you proper advice, and that's the target we are working on at the moment. George is designed to uncomplicate financial life. Your life and the life of our customer is already very complicated. We shouldn't just make it more complicated. So few of the things we took care of, we take care that your transactions are properly displayed, and based on your transaction, we are giving you a bunch of functionality like importing files, like exporting transactions, like adding hashtags, categorizing transactions, and so on. That's what we had from day one. I just want to finish with one of the most used features for our customer, which sounds very basic, but is very important for all of them, is when you come into George, no matter if you're an existing client of the bank or you bring your account from another bank, we scan your whole transaction history, and from that moment on, each single transaction you ever created, it becomes a template. So from that moment on, you just have to type either a couple of letters or a couple of numbers in case of an account number. We can fill it out, and we are pre-filling the form, and you can make payment. Now, most of our customers are doing all their payment with our application, and so the fact that we are really focused on making sure that that experience of payment is the most smooth and frictionless experience is extremely important for them. Few metrics. We have many metrics. So George, we pick up 3 today just to give you a feeling what is important for us. So the first metric is about the scale. Probably you have realized digital is only about scale. And we need to look at that. That's why we have this group view. And actually, we have the regional view on a long term. So at the moment, we have 5.3 million users across 4 countries. And we are currently growing on a rate of 5,000 onboarded user every single month. And we are growing at 2.7% month over month. On the experience side, especially on the app, where we can measure on the App Store, we have a remarkable rating of between 4.3 to 4.8 in some countries, so an average around 4.6. That's how our applications are rated by our customer, and that's a really good result. And I like to put your attention on this DAU/MAU tracking, which is basically identify the active user, the percentage of our active digital user that they are actually logging in each single day. And we are approximately at 35. Now, market standard in any industry, not in financial industry, is approximately, if it's over 20% is good, if it's above 50% is state of the art. Like Facebook, Twitter have more than 50%, but I think we have 35, and I think it's really remarkable. What does this mean in simple words? In simple words, for you to understand, every single day, I'm sure that 35% of my digital active customers are coming online. So either I have a message for them, I have a proposal for them, and an advice for them. I know that I can reach that amount on a daily basis, which is interesting. The third metric we put together is about how often our customers engage with our platforms. At the moment, this number is approximately 72 million times per month. 80% of that coming from the mobile app, the other coming from desktop. And we see that growing really rapidly. It's growing approximately at 3% month over month. And I pass it over to Boris now.
Which is great. Which is great because we will reach the 100 million engagement probably in about 15 months. So you see that there's lots of traction on the platforms we serve, and this is a huge potential for the future. Just to give you a picture on how we entered all the markets, and you see that we started 2015 off in Austria, and it took quite a time, as you see in the graph, to reach the first million, but as we reached the first million, we had a great party. But just to explain a bit to you, we started really off with an MVP, you know, with a minimum viable product, which is important to understand, to launch and perfect later. Launch now, perfect later. Very important, very new for banks, right? The second thing is we had a completely new kind of infrastructure in place based on API layers, so we needed there some experience how to get this resilient. And the third thing was, and I think that's also very important, that we needed some experience to do the transition, right, from the old systems into the new. And you also see on this picture that as soon as we had Slovakia and the Czech Republic, and we speeded up this transformation, and happily to have Romania since 2019. So today, and we expect 2021 to reach kind of the 6.5 million. We're still not there. So next year, 2020, Croatia and Hungary will come up. Croatia will start for friends and family in spring, and will launch George in Croatia, great country, in autumn, and Hungary maybe a bit later. The thing about Hungary is interesting because there we're piloting the first time George completely in the cloud. So the great story, the great thing about this is one platform across all countries, one code, number one. Number two, a centrally managed IT infrastructure based on API layers throughout, full-fledged. Number three, this gives us and puts us into a situation which is fantastic because it's a cross-border platform where we can leverage the positive effects with, right? So I hand over to Mauri, because basically this was what we wanted to achieve from the beginning. From day one, we wanted to build a platform to achieve cross-borders, economies of scale. That's basically the future.
So to give a bit the context where we are coming from and what's the strategy, what was the strategy across the last years of development? You probably hear several times in the past about the word George, so what was our short, medium, and long-term strategy? And I like to put this into the context of the fintech revolution we have in place right now. So if you remember right, fintech on 2008, there was basically nothing. No one was talking about fintech. Something happened. There was a financial crisis on one side and the launch of the iPhone on the other side. So then in the period between 2012, we have been created in 2012, 2015, there was this big explosion of enthusiasm around this new innovation. The game there, if you remember right, was banks are outdated, they will never make it, we're going to take it over, and so on. Retail banking and numbers in banking is not as easy as it sounds like, right? And so the story started to change slightly in 2016. It was about 2016, 2017, it was about corporations. So now, okay, we don't make it ourselves, but we have great technology, let's cooperate together and offer great services. The underlying message was, it's hard to get to millions of customers, so please help us out, offer our service to your customer, right? What we see right now, and a very interesting development in Europe especially, but also in the US, we see that it's all about building platforms, no matter what. Banks are doing good and they're catching up. Compared to 10 years ago, bank has really state-of-the-art applications. Most of the incumbents are doing a good job, some not, but most of them are doing a good job, and they're catching up. And it's all about building, as this is a business model, a digital business model, it's all about building traction, scaling up, and building platforms. And this gives us the confidence that our strategy from day one, building an Erste Group and Central European platform for banking, was the right direction. We are still stick with that strategy, still today, after 7 years, we launched the product. To finish that topic, I'd like to do a little comparison. And a comparison is not done because I perceive those challenger as a challenging for us. That's not the point. The impact of those challengers on our customer base is nearly insignificant, but they're doing a good job, and I think there is something to take out of that game. What is the challenge here is the race to relevance. How can I be relevant? Again, if you remember right, we have 5.3 million customers in 4 countries. Revolut is a great product, but they have 8 million customers in 24 countries. So the impact they have on every single customer on every single country is really limited. What is more important is the primary ratio. If you really want to do financial advice, you need to be able to see the financial situation of your customers. And if you only have 30% of your primary, it's going to be a hard work. So at the moment, what we see is that the challenger activities around us are really focusing on expanding the vertical. So they all enter the market with one vertical. Revolut enter with a prepaid card, Monzo enter with a free account, N26 enter with a free account, Starling enter with a free account. And now, in order to do really great banking experience, they need to expand the range, either by using partner or building product themselves. We have 90% of primary customers. There was discussion before. We have actually 98% of customers stays with us for a longer period. But if you look at our customer that are digital active and they manage their salary account with us and they manage most of their payment with us, including the loans and the insurance, we're talking about 90%. This puts us in a fantastic position to be able to really try to look at their financial life on a broader spectrum. And I totally can back up what Peter is saying. The beauty is not on the vertical. If you're looking for a company who will give you the best interest rate on savings, probably we will not be that company. But if you're looking for a company which is able to understand the intelligence between your singular product and make this connection seamlessly and flow money across them, that's where the intelligence comes from. And that's our target. We want to get there. We want to conquer the space in between the products.
Why is this so important? Why was this so important for us from the beginning? I really want to refer to Andreas and what he said in the beginning, the nice film you saw about how Erste came into place. Remember? It was be there for everybody. And if you build digital interfaces, if you use design and if you use intelligence and all the mechanisms and the beauty of technology you have in place, it's a difference if you build the interface for everybody or if you build it just for the hipsters, right? So our challenge was acknowledging this fantastic 200-year birthday and acknowledging this history that we are here representing a company who is there for everybody. We build an interface for everybody. And this is what you saw in the design by Mauri before, but it is important to understand that we serve the young and the old, low and high income, mobile first, desktop users, digital enthusiasts, but also those who are maybe not so digitally affine. George works for them too. It's very important to understand. That's the understanding thing. It's financial literacy. Because, you know, how can an interface make people smarter? If people are smarter, they take better decisions. And this has an effect on society. And the economics will follow. Second, our responsibility to empower millions of people to embrace digital change. That's a responsibility to have if you see the market shares we represent in the different countries, the trusted brands we have, and the scale opportunities which are there based on this kind of technology. So we are really able, massively really able to drive the markets towards a healthy form of digitization, helping and protecting our customers. That's very important. Because that goes really back to the identity of the savings banks as it always was, converting financial health into a digital proposition. And the third thing, and now we go happy, you know, to go into a live demo here. Now Mauri will show you something what we're working on currently, the next big thing. We're building the next generation of banking experience. We really mean it seriously here. And we use kind of all the things, all the tools which are there, the components of artificial intelligence, machine learning, to protect our customers against the downside and help them to take the opportunities in the good times. So now get ready kind of for a live demo thing based on an algorithm we have built the last months, and we're very convinced about that tool, and Mauri will start giving you some insights on that one.
I really like to pick back this story. I mean, it sounds that we repeat the same thing over and over again, but it's really crucial for us.
Yeah.
Understand manage and improve. And I think not only the 3 pillars are necessary, but the order of execute are necessary. You know, I can improve a life of my customer, but if I don't make sure that they understand what is happening, it's not really a good done job. And so what we see right now in our process of digitalizing Central Eastern Europe, in terms of banking, of course, we see that the first step, we need to provide access to financial information. Then we need to empower our customer to do everything they can by themselves. And the next step, and that's what we like to talk right now for the last few minutes of this presentation, is how we do this because the ambition is to improve the financial life of these people. And so what we have done since January this year, we're actually working on an algorithm that is trying to understand at every given time and at every moment what is the current discrepancy between the ideal asset allocation within our customer life. So the classical 3 product of our customer is current account, so where you manage your liquidity, your saving or your reserve, no matter if it's 1, 2, 3, 20 saving products, and your investment, or let's say the place where you put the money, then they grow, right? And so we try to build an algorithm that keeps in mind all your situations, so how much you earn, how much you spend, what's your family situation, and try to identify, as simple as that, how much money you should keep on your liquidity, how much money you should keep on your reserve, and what's the opportunity for you to invest. It's a very straightforward. What I'm going to show you right now is not an interface that will go in front of client. It's just an interface that kind of visualize our algorithm, and we are currently testing it with a lots of customers to validate it. Our ambition here is not to build one thing, one suggestion that fits all. But we want to create those advice in real time on every single customer. So for us, we have at the moment, we have 5.3 million different advice. We want to be able to deliver an advice for the single person at this given moment in time. As we are short in time, I look at identify 3 use cases, 3 customers. What I see right now is actually numbers come from real customer. Of course, we took away all the personal information, but basically, those customers represent, in this case, it represents one of the standard situations we have in place. We have customers that currently have too much money in their current account, much too much. Based on their spending and their current life, they have a bit too less on the savings, and they have an opportunity on the investment, they don't make use of it. So that basically what we try to do with that mechanism, we try to explain our customer, listen, you're doing a fantastic job on your current account, but there is no need to keep 16,500 euro there. We also try to explain in a very verbal way at this point of time why it makes no sense to keep those money there and what they should do. They should reduce their balance and build a bit of reserve. Why? If you move to the next column, based on what they spend and the historical track record of what they spend in the past, we're able to calculate that actually a good reserve, normally we calculate good reserve approximately that you can survive 3, 6, 9 months, more or less. A good reserve for you would be approximately 6,000 euro, right? And based on that reshuffling or reorganization of your liquidity, you have an opportunity for 13,000 euro. Which product you buy for this 13,000 euro is the next step. You click on that button. We don't have the time. I can show you afterwards on a one-on-one. You click on that button. We also, again, try to figure out which product fits you the best. But at this point of time, we basically tell you, there is an opportunity for you, take it. Now, there was a question before about structured product and so on. It's true. Here we are telling people make an investment, and there is no investment which is 100% secure. But the other things, there is one thing which is really secure. If you keep those money in your saving, you lose on inflation. There is no way around. And so I think we need to identify what is the right tactics and the right strategy to drive our customer to understand not only the ideal situation for each single verticals, but basically try to understand the flow of money within your vertical. And that's what we try to do. So this is one classical example. We have plenty of those customers in our group. But there are also examples like this one. This is a customer that has no opportunity for investment. And this is not a customer who earns little. This guy is earning a lot of money. Still, he should have more people in his balance, more money in his balance on his current account, in order to avoid that he's missing payment or is too late on something or sometimes getting short of something, and he has to build a better reserve. At this point of time, we really need to help this customer to build better reserve. And we are currently sure that if he's following our advice and he's doing this work right, it will come a time where the third column with prosperity will become active and will give him a chance to also invest a bit of the extra. So that's the second. And of course, one of the most challenging clients are those clients, and we have plenty of them. They have 40,000 euro on their saving. And it's a no-brainer to do a little calculation how much they're losing every single month, right? And so the question we need to identify, they're doing fine on the, you see they're doing fine on their current account. Basically, it's okay. They're doing a good job there. They obviously have too much in their saving. That's not really necessary to have so much money there, and they have a remarkable opportunity on the investment part. Now, if you look in the detail, I think this guy is just 20, let me see. I think this guy is 32. You know, if I manage to convince a 32 years old, probably young family, or you know, to invest that amount, I'm sure when he gets to pension, he's really have a great capital, no matter what is happening in the capital market. And so our mission and our responsibility here is to do that process. And younger our customers are, more we have a chance really to really make a difference for their life. And yeah, that's 3 examples. I have plenty of examples, so if you want, during one break or late in the afternoon, just approach us and I can show you more or tell you more in detail how that works out. But in a very short time, that's what we are working on. And at the moment, we're going to pilot something coming out of that algorithm in Austria from January on. And probably if that pilot is positive, we're going to roll it out across the group as well. And for me, it's done. Peter, any last remark?
Anything you still expect from us?
Yeah.
And happy to collaborate in the future also with our corporate guys in Erste Group. Ingo, come on stage. So, enjoy.
Thanks.